My name is Scott Bostic. I'm a first-year seminary student at Wesley Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C. I just came here after spending 10.5 years in the United States Army, 4 at West Point, and 6.5 years on active duty as an infantryman and a medical service corps officer. I was deployed in Iraq from October 2009 to July 2010 in the Baghdad province on the east side of Baghdad. While I was deployed in Iraq, I worked as a healthcare administrator, providing healthcare for about 3,800 soldiers and about another 200 civilians and civilian contractors that were working with us while we were in Iraq. I'm not a fan of war. I don't think that that is or should be our primary response to any situation. But I think, unfortunately, in the world in which we live in, there are times when all other matters of conflict resolution fall through, and the powers that be decide that armed conflict is our only solution. I think war is an inevitable consequence, unfortunately, of the fallen world in which we find ourselves. Valuing human life and approaching it from the perspective of every life is precious, and believing that God loves every person that He's created changes the way that you look at things, and especially when it comes to thinking about things like collateral damage and what else happens in war as a consequence of what we do, changes the way that you approach the people that you're amongst when you're in a armed conflict. The image that most comes to mind when I think about everybody being God's children is when I spent a day in a village just outside of where we were stationed, giving out shoes to little kids who didn't have shoes, or the ones that did had hand-me-down shoes that their brothers had worn and maybe their fathers had worn, and were held together by some duct tape that they'd gotten from who knows where. And realizing that those people, that the Iraqi people, really wanted the same thing that a mother and father here in America or a mother and father somewhere else in the world want for their kids to be taken care of, for their kids to grow up in a safe environment, for their basic needs to be met. Really validated that view of the other folks that we were there to help, and changed my perspective on the Iraqi people from folks that were out to kill us and out to hurt us to people that were really just people trying to make their way in the world.